Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. In today's noise-filled world, silence isn't emptiness, it's a superpower. Everywhere you turn, people are speaking over each other, typing faster, reacting quicker. But have you ever noticed the one who says nothing often holds the most power? That's no accident, that's wisdom. And today, we're exploring a truth most people overlook. The 5 specific moments in life when staying silent is not just wise, it's transformational. Social media has taught us to respond instantly, to prove our point, to clap back, to defend our name. But here's the twist. Silence isn't the absence of a voice. It's the presence of discipline, the ability to observe, absorb, and rise above. In a digital culture that celebrates oversharing, silence creates curiosity. It becomes the pause that makes people lean in. As the Sufi poet Rumi once said, "The quieter you become, the more you are able to hear." And sometimes what you hear in silence reveals more than 1,000 conversations ever could. Think about it. You're in an argument. Emotions are high. Texts are flying. Words are weaponized, and yet the person who refuses to engage in the drama suddenly becomes the one in control. That's the kind of power we're talking about today. Or maybe someone wronged you, lied, manipulated, tested your worth. You're tempted to call them out, explain yourself, expose the truth. But what if you didn't? What if your calm was your closure? What if your silence was your justice? Today's episode is not just about being quiet. It's about being intentionally quiet, about understanding when your words will heal and when your silence will reveal. We're going to explore 5 moments in life where speaking may cost you your peace, but silence will protect it. Moments that separate the reactive from the resilient, the loud from the wise. So if you're ready to learn how stillness speaks louder than sound, and why sometimes the strongest thing you can say is nothing at all, this video is for you. Let's begin. Number 1, be silent when you're angry. Let stillness be your strength. Anger is a fire that burns quickly, but its damage can last a lifetime. The moment your heart starts pounding, your vision narrows, and your pride feels bruised, that's the moment your silence matters most. Because while the world tells you to speak your truth in the heat of rage, true strength lies in restraint. When emotions run high, words become weapons, and once they're released, you can't take them back. We've all been there, typing out a furious message, rehearsing a comeback in our minds, ready to unleash our feelings. But here's the reality. Very few things you say in anger actually lead to healing. Most of them only lead to regret. And in today's hyper-documented, screenshot-driven world, your emotional outburst might just become someone else's entertainment. Silence, on the other hand, carries mystery, discipline, and control. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." That pause between provocation and reaction, that's where your power lives. And silence gives you that pause. It lets the storm pass without pulling you into the chaos. When you're angry, silence isn't cowardice. It's clarity. It's choosing not to give someone the satisfaction of seeing you lose your center. It's stepping back, breathing deep, and allowing the wave of emotion to pass before you speak. Because silence doesn't mean you're okay with what happened. It means you're wise enough to respond later, with calm and precision, instead of reacting now with heat and harm. Especially in relationships or emotional games, some people thrive on triggering you. They want your outburst. Your explosion validates their control. But when you meet manipulation with silence, their grip weakens. You stop being predictable. You stop feeding their narrative. Silence gives you the space to choose your response, or to realize no response is needed at all. Social media loves outrage. It rewards the clapback, the drama, the viral reply. But in the long run, it's the silent one people remember. The one who didn't need to argue to protect their peace. The one who disappeared from the chaos, not because they lost, but because they evolved. So next time anger rises, do something radical. Say nothing. Watch. Breathe. Let the silence be your shield. Because true mastery isn't how loud you speak when you're hurt. It's how still you can remain when you could destroy someone with your words and choose not to. Number 2, be silent when you're being undervalued. Let your absence speak volumes. There's a certain ache that comes not from being rejected, but from being quietly overlooked. When your efforts go unnoticed, your value unrecognized, and your presence taken for granted, it's tempting to protest, to explain your worth, to try harder, louder. But the truth is, real power doesn't come from convincing someone to see your value. It comes from choosing silence and letting your absence do the talking. When someone consistently fails to appreciate your presence, your energy, your time, silence becomes your most elegant response. No guilt, no drama, just withdrawal. Because the loudest message you can ever send is your disappearance from a space where you were once constant. In today's attention economy, where everyone is broadcasting, performing, and competing for validation, silence is rebellion. People are used to noise. They expect a reaction. They expect you to ask, "What's wrong?" They expect you to fight for your place. But when you don't, when you simply fall silent and walk away, that's when they start to feel the weight of your worth. As the poet Rumi once said, "Don't get lost in the noise. Move in silence and let your soul shine." Because sometimes being silent in the face of being undervalued isn't retreat, it's dignity. Let them feel the space you once filled. Let them miss your energy, your consistency, your kindness. Let them question why the air feels colder without your presence. Not out of spite, but out of quiet clarity that whispers, "I don't force myself where I'm not seen." People only begin to reflect when the noise stops. And when your silence enters the room, it echoes louder than any argument you could make. That's when realization dawns, because silence invites truth. And truth often hides behind the comfort of your attention. So instead of begging for appreciation, give the gift of absence, not to punish them, but to heal you. Walk away gracefully without explanation. Speak through your silence. Because when you stop trying to be heard, you become impossible to forget. Number 3, be silent during emotional storms. Protect your power in chaos. There are moments when emotions surge like a violent tide. Anger, hurt, betrayal, disappointment. In those moments, the tongue becomes a weapon sharper than any blade. And yet, the wisest response is not to strike, but to stay silent. Because silence during emotional chaos is not weakness, it's mastery. When you speak in the heat of emotion, your words often come from the wound, not the wisdom. You say things you don't fully mean. You offer your heart to the battlefield, unguarded. And later, you're left holding the weight of things that never needed to be said. But when you stay silent, you create space for truth to rise without damage. You step outside the storm instead of being swept away by it. In the digital age, this is even harder. With texting, tweeting, and typing at the speed of emotion, it's so easy to react. One sharp message, one angry voice note, one impulsive post. But true emotional intelligence means pausing when it burns most. As Viktor E. Frankl wrote, "Between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Silence is that space. It's the pause that protects your dignity. When someone triggers you, be it a partner, friend, or stranger, your silence says, "I'm too rooted in myself to be pulled into your storm." You choose stillness over sparring, grace over reaction, and that's what stuns people, because most expect retaliation. But silence, that's unpredictable and powerful. Your calm presence in chaos speaks volumes about who you are. It reflects emotional maturity. It shows that your self-worth isn't up for auction every time someone tries to provoke you. And over time, you'll notice this. People begin to respect the space you command simply by refusing to be chaotic with them. So next time the storm rises, breathe. Don't respond. Let your silence be your strength. Because storms always pass. And when they do, the one who stayed calm will be the one still standing tall and whole. Number 4, be silent when they undermine you. Let dignity be your loudest voice. Sometimes, silence is not about what you withhold, but what you protect. And one of the most powerful moments to embrace silence is when someone tries to belittle you, mock your values, or question your worth. Whether it's a passive-aggressive comment, a sarcastic jab in public, or a veiled insult on social media, resist the urge to defend. Because when you respond, you often validate their pettiness. But when you stay silent, you rise above it. It's tempting to clap back, especially today, when everything feels like a performance and everyone has a digital stage. We're trained to defend ourselves instantly, to argue louder, to win the interaction. But silence in those moments is not defeat, it's elevation. It's a reminder that your worth is not up for debate, and definitely not something you explain to small minds. As the philosopher Epictetus once said, "If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. When you don't take the bait, you keep your mental energy intact. You send a message without speaking. I don't need to convince you. I already know who I am." In fact, silence during such moments often unsettles the other person more than any clever comeback could. Because people who seek to hurt or control you want your reaction. It feeds their ego. But your silence, it starves them. And not in cruelty, but in quiet dignity. In a world where reputation is currency and everyone rushes to prove themselves, the one who doesn't rush, the one who remains grounded in self-respect, becomes rare. And rare is powerful. So next time someone throws shade, looks down on your dreams, or tests your limits, don't lower yourself. Don't explain. Don't match their energy. Just breathe. Hold your center. And let the silence echo your confidence. Because sometimes silence isn't just an absence of words, it's a statement of inner strength that cannot be broken. Number 5, be silent when you're not yet healed. Let stillness be your medicine. There's a sacred silence that only pain understands, and perhaps the most crucial time to stay silent is when you are still healing. In moments of heartbreak, betrayal, failure, or inner chaos, it's easy to speak from your wound instead of your wisdom. But healing demands stillness. It asks you to step back from noise, reactions, and explanations, and sit quietly with what hurts until it no longer controls you. Modern life doesn't make space for this. Today's culture teaches us to rush through grief, to post our pain, to package vulnerability for attention. But true healing doesn't happen in comments or captions. It happens in quiet mornings, in deep breaths, in prayers whispered into your pillow, in the moments where you choose not to talk, but to listen to your body, to your emotions, to your soul. As the poet Rainer Maria Rilke said, Be patient toward all that is unsolved in your heart and try to love the questions themselves. When you are still wounded, every word you speak carries fragments of that wound. So instead of trying to explain your story too soon, let silence be your sanctuary. When you go silent during healing, people may misunderstand. They may think you're avoiding them or that you don't care. Let them think, because your healing is not a performance. It's a sacred responsibility, and real peace begins not when you speak your truth to others, but when you finally speak it to yourself. There's a quiet dignity in choosing not to bleed on people who didn't cut you, in learning that silence is not weakness, it's recovery. It's your system shutting off the noise so it can rebuild strength. So stay silent when the wound is fresh. Speak when the scar has wisdom. Because the most powerful version of you is not the one who spoke from the pain, but the one who learned from it and waited long enough to rise. Conclusion: silence is not emptiness, it's not weakness, and it's not avoidance. Silence is a deep form of self-respect. In a world that rewards noise, constant updates, instant replies, quick opinions, choosing to stay silent is an act of power. It's where your mind catches up to your soul. It's where truth surfaces without force. Throughout this video, we explored 5 sacred moments when silence becomes your strength, when emotions are high, when your words won't help, when you're misunderstood, when others need space, and when you are healing. In each of these, the common thread is awareness of yourself, of others, and of the bigger picture. As the mystic Rumi said, the quieter you become, the more you are able to hear. And it's true, silence lets you hear the unspoken, the intentions behind words, the energy in a room, the deeper meaning in your own heart. It protects your peace, guards your dignity, and allows you to respond, not from ego, but from clarity. Let this be your reminder. You don't owe everyone a reaction. You don't have to explain yourself to be valid. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is say nothing. Because when you master the art of silence, you no longer fear anyone else's noise. Thank you for watching this video. If it moved you, if it made you reflect, even just for a moment, then I invite you to be part of this journey. Like this video if it gave you value, share it with someone who needs the calm more than the chaos. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep, soulful conversations that challenge the noise and bring you closer to your truth. Until next time, stay still, stay strong, and stay silent when it matters most.